Welcome to Mainland Television Regional News. I'm Chrissy Small, and coming up in today's bulletin, we meet with and talk to Tasman's new District Commander. Cricket is off to a great start, and Nelson Heli Rescue Demand gives crew little breaks. She is one of only 3 female district commanders out of 12 in New Zealand, and only the 4th in the history of New Zealand Police. Karen Malthus is one of only 5 female superintendents in the whole country and now has the top police job in the district, covering Nelson, Marlborough and West Coast. Karen took over the job from Superintendent Richard Chambers, who is now District Commander for Auckland Central. Graham O'Brien caught up with Karen to ask her how the new job was going.
How's having the top police job in the district going for you?
It's a really, really exciting opportunity, and I'm really enjoying the opportunity to come down and work in the South Island, but also work in Tasman. What a beautiful district.
Right, great. And are there any disadvantages you feel being a female in the New Zealand Police Force at this time?
Not at all. Actually, I'd see it as an advantage. I've been in the police for many, many years and thoroughly enjoyed my job. So for me, it's not about gender. It's about doing the job. It's about leadership and supporting our staff and delivering the policing service.
Sure. And would you consider that this is your dream job now that you're in this top position?
Yeah, every job I've filled, I would say was my dream job at the time, absolutely, and I'm really enjoying being down here. It's a different role in that it is about leadership, it's about supporting our staff, growing and developing our staff and working with the community. So yeah, it really is a dream job. Yeah.
And how about for young women that are looking at joining the police force, what sort of advice might you give to them?
Work hard, focus, be successful in what they're doing, seek advice, seek support, and to be honest, that's advice I'd give to anyone in the police. But we do have a focus on growing the development and career opportunities for women as well as other groups in police. So really it's about knuckling down, getting the job done and really taking advantage of opportunities as they may come across them.
And we know that you've been the commander up in Auckland for a while, but do you see any challenges in this area? I mean, for example, in Auckland you won't get much cattle rustling. Well, we shouldn't think so anyway.
Quite right, Graham. I was a detective inspector up in Auckland. Prior to that I worked in the Northland District where they did get a lot of stock rustling, and prior to that in the Hamilton and Waikato area. So there are some similarities across that. Here it's much more mountainous, and poaching is an issue for our farming community and very much an issue for police. So we are working on that, and we have regular contact, and we just ask that people call us and tell us about it at the time so we can respond to it. And we have a really good social media campaign around informing the public about what is poaching and what is rustling, I suppose, as opposed to people who might think that they're hunting or try to have us think that they're hunting.
Sure, and like you say, we're quite mountainous. We have a lot of tourists in here. We do a lot of rescues. Is that a different part of your job that you wouldn't be so familiar with?
Well, not at all. Once again, very much the same challenges as faced in Northland and in the Waikato. In Auckland, you'd be surprised at the number of rescues that we'd search and rescue call-outs we'd have in the city. I mean, it's a big city with bordered by the ocean, so it's all quite relative. Search and rescue here is a very big call for service, and if I could take this opportunity to really say, and I'm taking this comment from some doc signposting, is your safety is your responsibility, and so people need to make sure that when they're out and about that they're taking precautions, that they have the means to communicate to others, and preferably travel with others so that they have some safety and some support.
And now you're sort of getting a little bit more familiar with the place. What are some of your goals for the area, if you could let us know?
Yeah, so my focus is on the entire Tasman district, so that includes Nelson Bays as we refer to it as a policing area. So my principal goal is to support our area commanders in those 3 areas in delivering the policing service and the calls for service and preventing crime, and working with the communities around initiatives that will further prevent crime and prevent victimisation. So that's my role and my goal. So I'm about to start a 10-day drive around the district to get to West Coast. I've got a meeting in Dunedin, and then I'll come back up the other coast and to see Marlborough. And so every week my intention is to be out in those areas. Obviously, if I go to the West Coast, that's a trip of a few days. So it's about making that time and being out there, and then meeting the staff and meeting the communities and the community leaders as well.
Right. And as we tell with anyone, say to anyone travelling to the coast, can you time your trip to go with the weather?
I could try. My last trip, it was raining, but I tell you, it was beautiful. Right. It was absolutely beautiful driving down to Haast in the mist. So I actually wonder if I speak to more tourists than I do police. At the moment, I'm stopping at the lookouts and talking to travellers, because I'm not sure how often they get to speak to a police officer outside of road policing issues, and that'd be another thing I'd like to address around. One of our biggest issues is road policing, road crashes, and it affects our local community as much as it does our tourists. And what I would say in some of the analysis we've looked at in the Nelson area, a lot of our driving issues and driving complaints that we have relate to local drivers more than tourists. Very much so tourists on the West Coast and maybe coming up Kaikoura way. But this crossing the centre line, you may have seen Inspector Greeley doing some work on that in the social media. It's really, really important that we get drivers to really drive within their abilities and within the road markings, because crossing that centre line, it becomes a habit. And they might think that they're shortcutting or they're driving to the Canberra or whatever it is, but it doesn't take anything but for an oncoming car to ruin someone's life and a family's life as well.
Sure. Personally, I find not indicating one of the biggest annoyances for me, because if you don't indicate, you're not really thinking about what you're doing. Do you feel that?
Oh, I agree totally, and you're not indicating your intentions to the other road users. So it's just about remembering. People have been driving maybe for all their life, or their adult life. It's just about remembering the courtesy of driving, as well as that it is a skill, and we need to concentrate behind the wheel.
Right. And obviously you get some spare time to enjoy yourself. What are some of your plans or activities that you're going to do around this area now that you're down here with us?
Yeah, absolutely. I've already started some of the day walks. Went out to Cable Bay and sort of marched up that steep hill before I realised there was a path going around the side. But I enjoyed it. That was great fun, and really want to get into some of the Able Tasman. So I've been for a ride on the water taxi to go and look at the lay of the land, and some kayaking if I can find some people to do that with, or a tour that's going to have a bit of a challenging kayak. Really into that. I'd love Northland. Take the kayak up for a couple of hours and then go kayaking in some of the bays. So I'd like to get some of that done here while I'm here. West Coast, bit wild and woolly maybe for the kayak, but I'll have a look. The guys down there tell me that there's some river kayaking you can get done, so hopefully I'll get some of that done. Yeah.
Tasman District Commander Karen Malthus, thank you very much for your time. It's very interesting.
You're most welcome. Thank you, Graham. Cheers.
You.
A monster slide has been approved by Council, but is the red light now green? Officially, as of Monday this week, the promoted monster slide is to go ahead in the Collingwood Street venue as originally advertised, before the official consent had been given. First thing on Monday morning this week, the Nelson City Council called an extraordinary meeting and approved the road closure in an about turn from an earlier decision made by Council staff, who decided not to allow the event to take place on Collingwood Street based on objections raised by 3 affected residential property owners. Organisers are offering ticketed rides on a 300-metre water slide going down from the top of Collingwood Street on Nelson's anniversary day on February the 2nd, after getting the green light from Nelson City councillors. The council revisited the issue urgently after reviewing legal requirements that councillors, rather than council staff or the CEO, needed to decide temporary road closures for such events. Conditions set out with the closure include provision of priority parking on Bronte Street for those Collingwood Street residents who require it, and an emergency vehicle access way on the eastern side of Collingwood Street. The Monster Slides resource consent application to the council for the event was still requiring processing. We put some questions to the Mayor's office of why the CEO was unaware of the decision-making process, who brought it to council's attention, and if other events had suffered as a result of this error. While on top of all that, the resource consent has still not yet been issued. At the time of going to air, we had not received a response from the Mayor or her office, so we asked some locals if they were going to give the slide a go.
So the Collingwood Monster Slide, it's on, it's ready to go. Do you think you'll be going and throwing yourself down it?
No, but I'll take my son. I think the council made a real hash up of that, and when opportunities come like this, they've just got to take them, and they didn't.
Are you guys going to go?
Yeah, we've got tickets.
You've got tickets already?
Yeah. Yeah, I said my daughter's been so excited about it. She can't wait. She's trying to get a team together. But yeah, I'll probably give it one go, but I won't be running up and down like she will.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Pretty good opportunity.
Yeah, it's sort of once in a lifetime.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And
maybe the children, but definitely not me. No. Might be a more spectator sport.
you don't think you'd have to go down with the kids?
No, maybe send their dad.
No, I think it's a great big red herring from all the real major political issues that are going on. It's just another distraction for the sheeple public to immerse their blindness in to avoid facing the realities of this political and economic and global situation that's rapidly deteriorating.
The trolley derby was great fun and people liked it, and the other slide, I'm not sure what would be involved, but some of the residents are against it, but it's only a day.
Latest figures out from Quotable Value say that 2014 was a stop-start year for residential property values, with some flat periods due to uncertainty associated with the loan-to-value lending speed limits imposed by the Reserve Bank, interest rate hikes and an election, along with periods of rapid value increases in some areas and decreasing values in others. Overall, the nationwide average shows residential property values increased 4.9% or $22,652 during 2004, from $466,022 in December 2013 to $488,604 in December 2014, according to the latest statistics. The average national value increased was 1.5% over the final 3 months of 2014, and nationwide values overall are now 17.9% higher than the previous market peak reached in late 2007. However, these latest figures out show that the average house price for Nelson is now around the $410,000 mark, with a value rise of 2%. And that is up 7.1% since the market peak of 2007. It was another busy day for our rescue helicopter last Sunday, with the Nelson Tasman Rescue Helicopter Service responding to 3 call-outs. It all began around 6:30 a.m. when the helicopter was called to attend to a vehicle crash on the Collingwood-Takaka Highway. A 22-year-old driver of a ute lost control leaving the road. The female driver sustained potentially serious injuries as a result of the crash and was treated en route to Nelson Hospital by the helicopter's onboard intensive care paramedic. Then late afternoon, a call came in around 5 p.m. where the helicopter conducted an urgent medical transfer from Nelson to Wellington hospitals. Following that, around 8:45 p.m, the Heli Rescue Service was called to Arapawa Island in the Outer Marlborough Sounds after a 66-year-old woman sustained a leg injury as a result of a fall from a deck. She was treated at the scene by the paramedic before being flown to Wairau Emergency Department in Blenheim. Following that, on Monday, the 19th, a 14-year-old Christchurch boy was then airlifted to Nelson Hospital from Totara campground in the Abel Tasman National Park after falling heavily from his bicycle. The boy was assessed for shoulder injury by the onboard paramedic before being flown to Nelson Hospital. Yet again, the service is in record demand, being called upon daily, and as with this last Sunday call-outs, up to 3 a day, it is becoming more and more the norm and not the exception. Nelson Marlborough Rescue Helicopter is a charity-based rescue service and relies heavily on fundraising. With this busy start to the year after record call-outs last year and the fact that they sorely need extra crew, they sadly lack the funding to add even one extra paramedic. ACC do pay towards the recovery of the injured, but not for search and rescue attempts as the service undertook for 3 days late last year around the Kahurangi for a missing West Coast helicopter pilot. Nor were they compensated for body recovery. We asked people in Nelson if they believed central government should be paying fully for this essential service.
The rescue helicopter is funded by Nelson City. It's doing a phenomenal amount of rescues. It's way up on the last 2 years.
It goes right over my house.
Yeah, me too. Do you think it should be funded by central government? It's an essential service. It's costing a lot. We can't do without it. What do you think? Should it be funded by central government?
Partially.
Yeah.
I think it's good for community to be involved. and to be part of the community, but I certainly think government should be putting a lot more into that sort of thing.
Makes sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do. I think John Key, some of his $50 million worth of wealth, he could easily write out a little cheque for that if he really cared about women and children in this country, which I don't believe he does, yeah.
Or if the big corporates keep funding them, like Westpac used to. Yeah, definitely. They've got the money.
But maybe particularly tourists that have been very stupid, I think they should pay. I'm not such as the man that called the helicopter just because he was going to be late.
And finally, in Nelson this week, the international friendly cricket at Sexton Field captivated masses of local cricket fans with the match between the New Zealand Black Caps and the Sri Lankan cricket teams. The Black Caps won the match by 4 wickets, and local police were pleased with the crowd's behaviour after seeing this one-day event as a good test for the upcoming World Cup. Police Inspector Tim Crawford said the one-day international cricket match at Saxton Oval on Tuesday was a relaxed and friendly day. The policing operation went very smoothly and only one person was arrested after consuming too much alcohol afterwards at the end of the day's innings. He said this match was a good opportunity to test police planning and resources, and he's confident now that Nelson Bay's police are well prepared for the upcoming Cricket World Cup. Police on roads leading to the venue conducted breath alcohol checks after the game and detected no drink drivers. Inspector Crawford said that police couldn't be happier with that result. We asked people in Nelson if they went to this week's cricket and if they had plans to attend the upcoming Cricket World Cup matches based at Saxton Oval.
And how about the cricket? We've got the cricket in town. It was one yesterday. We've got 3 internationals to come. You guys going to go along to the cricket at all?
Oh, I'm going along to the West Indies Irish game, I think.
Nice.
It's got to be good. Yeah.
Fun,
Have a glass of Guinness and I don't know what else.
And also, hey, the cricket was on yesterday. Did you get along, or are you planning to go along to the internationals coming up?
Yeah, I went along. I ran from a street stall up to the Victorian Rose, poked my head in and kept a check on the score. I have to work like a lot of peasants, so I had no chance of that, but it was a great success.
I hate cricket.
No, I don't really follow cricket. Yeah.
I couldn't head on yesterday, but I'm keen as to go to the World Cup. Should be pretty sick. Yeah.
Good thing to have in the region.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty good for Nelson. Nice sunny day and it attracts lots of people, so.
The Cricket World Cup starts on Saturday the 14th of February when New Zealand and Sri Lanka play the opening game down there in Christchurch. After the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around the region.